he did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million.
Don't speak on how they pay you, because pocket watching us men shouldn't do, and that's just by nature. But thank you.
And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response.
Him didn't pay the sanctioning fees, and him didn't tell us what he was doing, and him hurting my feelings. Him, shut your ass up. We know why you really strip, bud. Come on, man. This is what the politics are of boxing, especially with the WBC and President Mauricio Solomon. You're not fooling anybody, bro, because there's some reasons that you could have stripped some other folks and you didn't do it with so much urgency. And there's some other reasons when you did strip somebody and you did it with most haste. And we about to talk about it.
Hello guys, this is Rolly Romero.
Yo, my name is Nonito Donaire. What's up guys, Designer's Eyes.
We're here with Bob Santos Boxing.
And I rock with Dr. Boxing Talk.
I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk.
And I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk. Thank you for all the love, thank you for all the support.
You're rocking with Dr. Boxing Talk. Get your daily news from my man right here, the best in the business. Let's get it, baby.
All day, baby.
Amen.
Bam!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you'll say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk, and we are here to discuss some things that was going on at the WBC convention in Thailand. Know what I'm talking about? BTF Rise Up. Now, the topic of today is going to be Terence Bud Crawford. Now, there was a lot of announcements like Conor Benn being the mandatory for the winner of Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. You see what I'm saying? Carlos Adames ordered to fight one of his mandatories. You see what I'm saying? A guy that's pretty well deserving, you know, and some other things that were called, right? Including Hamza Shiraz and Christian Billy being ordered to fight for a WBC belt, even though we know Christian and Billy is supposed to be fighting Jaime Munguia, but you never know how these things go. You know. Let me say this too. It was very interesting that Ben Whitaker, Mr. Next Up in Boxing, right, who I like, but I think that they're trying to fool us right now. You know, let him earn it as opposed to just give it to him on a silver platter. They also ordered Ben Whitaker versus Joshua Buatsi. That should be a fight that they welcome, right? I'm telling you, I don't think Eddie Hearn will let Ben Whitaker fight Joshua Buatsi yet. But anyway, what we're going to focus on today is Terence Bud Crawford, man. You know, the pound for pound #1 all-time great fighter, you know. And he just came off a phenomenal win, moving up to beat the face of boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez, a.k.a. Cinnamon, right? And that was, what, 3 months ago? Well, he's already been stripped. Not even 3 months ago, really. It hasn't even been 3 months yet. And he's already been stripped by the WBC, right? And the WBC, President Mauricio Solomon, has said it's because he hasn't paid his sanctioning fees, to which they tried to compromise with him. Now, I'm going to say this too. If you don't pay your fees, which I think is obviously is part of boxing, right? Whether you think it's ridiculous or not, it's up to you. You know, so sometimes it can get a little bit ridiculous, but we know that's part of the game. If you don't pay your sanctioning fees or do what you're supposed to do, then yeah, you should be stripped if you break the rules. However, Mauricio Solomon has a way of making folks abide by rules, enforcing rules when convenient, and not doing it when it's not as convenient, right? So case in point, Terence Bud Crawford was stripped pretty quickly, right? He just came off of a victory not even 3 months ago, like I said, right? And then there's somebody else in Dmitry Bivol. Remember when after he beat Artur Beterbiev, how fast he was stripped for David Benavidez to get elevated as a light heavyweight WBC champion? I'm not mad at either of these moves, but I'm going to show you the hypocrisy here. And I'm also going to show you, oh no, the contradiction. You see what I'm saying? Because what was known, one of my favorite fighters is Cinnamon, but I like a lot of fighters. You know, I like Terence Bud Crawford, David Benavidez, Cinnamon. I'm one of those rare people that like Cinnamon and like David Benavidez. I like Gervonta Tank Davis and I like Shakur. You see what I'm saying? I don't pick, or I don't like or dislike fighters based on them having personal beefs. Like, I just like the sport. You see what I'm saying? But for your listening pleasure, we are now on Spotify under Dr. Boxing Talk. The same thing on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, everything. Dr. Boxing Talk, man. Come rock with us. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Saul Canelo Alvarez was supposed to fight David Benavidez, right? For years. That's what they say, right? And I always tell people that no, Canelo was never officially ordered to fight David Benavidez, meaning that David Benavidez was never recognized as official WBC mandatory. And people get mad at me, say, oh, Doc, you're just protecting Canelo. No, I say that I wish Cinnamon would have decided to fight Benavidez, because as a face of boxing, you could do and therefore not do whatever he wants. And I wish he would have chosen to fight David Benavidez, but he didn't. But I'm not going to make a lie and say, oh, he was ordered to fight David Benavidez. David Benavidez was the ordered mandatory when he never was. You know how I know that? Because if he was the ordered mandatory and Canelo didn't fight him, he would have been stripped. Because when you don't do what you're supposed to do according to the WBC rules, he would have been stripped.
He did not comply with the rules.
Right? So the WBC would have stripped him if he didn't fight his mandatory that they called at David Benavidez, right? And if you don't do things like pay your sanctioning fees, they will strip you if you don't abide by their rules or regulations, right? Because they stripped Dimitri Bivol when he didn't fight Benavidez since he was an ordered mandatory. They stripped Terence Crawford when he didn't pay his sanctioning fees in less than a little bit over 2 months, not even 3 months yet. But when it came to Canelo, years went by and he didn't get punished for not fighting his mandatory that everybody claimed. So it's one of two things. Either the WBC and President Mauricio Solomon don't abide by their own rules, or people are really confused and they don't know what's really going on in boxing, despite no matter how much they try to claim otherwise. I think it's a combination of both. The first one, I think Mauricio Solomon didn't officially make David Benavidez the mandatory for Canelo because he figured that Canelo wasn't too enthused about fighting him and he didn't want to upset the apple cart, especially the cash cow. He still wanted those fees collected, right? Similar with Terence Crawford. That's why he's really upset. And then two, I think that people think that because David Benavidez was ranked #1 or ranked highly that he was automatically the mandatory. No, you can be ranked #1 and not be the ordered mandatory. But yeah, I'm you know, like I said, you know, I get tired of talking about the same thing over and over again. So I think it's a combination of both. You see what I'm saying? But I do think that it's really prevalent now that you should see that Mauricio Solomon and the WBC, they don't always abide by their rules and regulations. Instead, they have all these type of clauses and all these things to maneuver how they want when they want. So what's really upsetting Mauricio Solomon is not that Terence Crawford didn't pay his fees in a timely fashion or let him know what he was going to do. I think that he sees that Terence Crawford has all this money.
Don't speak on how they pay you because pocket watching us men shouldn't do, and that's just by nature.
From a fight that they were involved in, and he didn't get broke off whatever he felt was appropriate at the time. And the fact that Terence Crawford is being his own man and doing what he wants to do. Similarly with Alexander Usyk, right? He was stripped of the WBO. He basically gave it up because he's like, hey, I'm not going to do what y'all want me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm in that portion of my career where I've done everything I really want to do as far as accomplishments and accolades go. So y'all just got to wait on me. And I don't blame Terence Crawford, nor do I blame Usyk or anybody else. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I see it like that because I think that Mauricio Solomon is just, you know, essentially, like I said, you got to abide by the rules. So I'm not making an excuse for Terence Crawford, but I can't help but notice that Mauricio Solomon is just being greedy. You know what I'm talking about? Just like all the sanctioning bodies. I mean, just make another belt, bro. You're good at that, right? You have an interim belt fight coming up, you know, with WBC interim title holder Islam Pitbull Cruz. You see what I'm saying? You have all these interim belts and all these franchise belts and all these super belts or regular belts. But you're good on the sanctioning fees, right? The same with the WBA and President Gilberto Mendoza. Go look at the heavyweight division, right? The super champion at the WBA is Alexander Usyk, right? And then the interim champion is Fabio Wardley, and then the regular champion is Kubrat Pulev. That's why people are so confused because there's so many belts. And all those belts, they're collecting sanctioning fees. So that's why they do it. You see what I'm saying? But y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Don't forget to smack that like button. But more importantly, remember with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. To sum it up, I just think it's funny how fast Terence Crawford and Dimitri Bivol were stripped and how they drugged their feet when it came to not stripping Cinnamon. And like I said, I'm a Cinnamon fan, so I don't think he should be stripped. You know, that's just my personal opinion. I don't, you know, but at the same time, if you're going to strip some with haste and urgency, then you should apply the same type of haste and urgency with everybody, not just do it selectively. That's it for the doc, man. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.